The point is actually to align and collaborate and get to work with like-minded people instead of feeling like it's going to dim my light. It's just going to amplify it. We just both get to shine together.
Welcome to the Energy Upgrade Podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Grutman. And if you are a high-achieving woman, a successful entrepreneur, an inspiring entrepreneur, or just a woman with kick-ass big dreams, you're in the right place. If you value your energy, your health, if you want to be a biohacker, tap into longevity, if you want to raise the impact you have in this lifetime, you're going to have a lot of fun around here. As a second-time seven-figure business creator, certified health practitioner, and soul biohacker, I'm here to reconnect you to your energy, to the soul of your business, and to your superpowers. Let's go. Welcome home.
I am so excited today to have my friend Anna Lozano actually back on the podcast because we already recorded something. It feels like ages ago. I can't even remember when, but here we are again, talking about the frequency of abundance because it is too juicy, too good not to share. So welcome back, my friend.
So excited. Part 2s are so good. And I mean, so much has happened in between. And I just saw you at your retreat. And it's like, I want to take over your show because I'm so excited to lead into what we were just talking about before you hit record.
Oh my gosh. So yes, for context, for those listening, Anna, you graced us with your presence during the fam retreat in Mexico because you happened to live 20 minutes literally from that resort. And so when things started lining up, I called you and I was like, hey, I'm doing this. And I remember you were like, I'm in. Like, I didn't even finish my sentence. You're like, I'm in. And you came and did this beautiful session. You did a sound bath with like some, like, oh my gosh, the frequency. Everybody was hooked up on the Healy. It was, and then we obviously were running abundance and prosperity codes. And we, it was really to activate the dormant codes of prosperity and abundance. And it just was so epic at the end, because I asked you, I was like, can I actually take part in this? I want a taste of your medicine. And you were like, yes, yes. And I remember when I kind of woke up from wherever you took us, I couldn't stop crying.
Oh,
I just was, it felt like I just received your love, your medicine, but I just felt like, yes, this is it. Like the fact that you came here and we joined forces to give this like life-changing experience together was just so beautiful. And there is just something to be said about in person, right?
oh,
It just can't be
oh my
beat.
gosh. You just said so much. And I really want to honor you for receiving, because as someone who was holding space for 12 incredible women, and obviously you had traveled to be there and you had consciously curated this experience, like for you to just be there and fully immersed in receivership was so powerful, because you're giving others permission, and other hosts and other guides permission to do the same. Because, when you're hosting and you take on that work, that role, it's all about giving, giving, giving. But we were just talking about before you hit record, it is literally impossible to give so much without refilling that cup. And so I loved witnessing you give yourself these moments to receive, to refuel, so that then you can go and guide again. Like that was beautiful to witness. And it's so important for anyone who's in that role.
Yeah. And there's something I shared there that really hit me during that session. And it was, old me, like 2019 version of me and before, literally would have gone to take a weekend course to learn how to do a sound bath experience, because I would have wanted to do it all alone, because here I am, I can do it all. Yeah. And, it just felt, as I was sitting and receiving everything you had to offer, I thought, how silly of me to have operated most of my life in that way. It just made me so emotional, because I was just like, I was missing the point. That is
Mm.
not the point, to try to do it all alone. It's never been the point. The point is actually to align and collaborate and get to work with like-minded people. And instead of feeling like it's going to dim my light, it's just going to amplify it. We just both
It's
get to shine
just,
together.
oh, and I'm so happy you're going here because it's also from the space of embodiment. It's not the words talking about collaboration, but it's like it's a true weaving of everyone's gifts. And what's also beautiful to witness is, I mean, we've known each other now for 4 years.
Mhm.
And it's also the transition of, yes, we were really programmed to operate and show up and live from our masculine as we were creating these businesses.
Yeah.
And then we both sold these businesses. And then we have been like just naturally moving towards rebalancing these energies. And the feminine energy is about collaboration, is about community, is about not just talking about it, but truly embodying it. And, the fact that it was just such a beautiful energy exchange and everyone could give their gift in that moment from this authentic space, because it's not to say, I'm sure you could play the sound bowls. Like, really, I could show you in an hour and you could show up and play. And I could also teach frequency and energetics, but it was so beautiful to witness everyone in their zone of genius in that moment of time. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what true weaving is all about. And I'm excited for this next chapter in evolution of entrepreneurship, because the ones that don't fully embody this, and they're still lone wolfing, they're still me, it's all about me, I'm the star of the show, this is how much money I make, this is how much weights I can lift, this is, hoorah, me on the cover of a magazine. Awesome, supporting you, cheering you on. But when you don't fully embody this sisterhood, it's no longer going to work. Like, we're seeing these old paradigms that are no longer working. And yes, stage one is to talk about it. Stage two is to truly embody it. And so we're witnessing this shift in entrepreneurship, and it may be uncomfortable, but what we were able to witness together and experience and embody was just out of this world. That's
Oh,
the future of business.
exactly. And that is abundance.
That's
Right?
abundance.
Abundance comes in many forms, and it comes in the form of sharing each of our gifts. And that's why I always say you have to be so crystal clear on what makes you unique. What is your own zone of genius, and market and brand from that place, because otherwise you're just trying to be like everyone else. And we know what that's done to us. Like, it is pure conditioning. We got to break free from that. Could your body be begging you for a detox? Doing a seasonal liver detox has been my biggest biohack these past few years. Not only does it help me boost my energy, increase my restorative deep sleep, reduce my cravings, bloating, inflammation, and puffiness, but it also gives me the biggest brain clarity boost that usually is responsible for my next genius idea. The 7-day functional medicine liver detox I recommend is not like a juice cleanse. Here, we're really supporting the liver in eliminating toxins that have been building up in the body for years. Because yes, we're all exposed to those toxins every single day. If you're curious to give it a try, I'm offering you a 15% discount when using the code PODCAST at checkout on my online store. Plus, you'll be receiving my step-by-step online detox course to guide you through the process. I've helped more than 1,000 women feel like themselves again with this detox. Don't miss your chance to also feel like yourself again. Use code PODCAST at checkout for 15% off. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, let's talk about this concept of receiving, which I feel like a lot of people are like, when we talk about abundance, that's often the piece that's missing, and that is pure feminine energy. So of course we have not been taught to receive in anything. Like, to like,
Exactly.
just think of a compliment, just think of, we don't
A
really.
helping hand, someone saying, let me help you with this. And you're like, oh, no, 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 no. right? It
Yeah.
felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, because I was just saying, it took me a few days where I felt like literally a human larva coming back from the retreat. And all I felt was like, I need to fill my cup again. Because after giving so much, I just felt like cuddling and napping and meditating and sleeping. And that's literally what I did for 3 days, going from one couch to the next. But that is important because it is part of the cycle too. After giving so much, I have to refuel. But before, I wouldn't do that part.
It
I
would
would
be go,
just,
go, go from one thing to the next. That
yeah.
is the old paradigm programming. It's like you just completed this retreat. What are you doing next? And now you're selling your next one. And then you're moving into this and the next project, the next offer, the next product, the next launch. And it's like, okay, like it's no, like our energetics can no longer do that because
Hmm.
the movement is towards being and rebalancing the being and the doing. And I think, we were just talking about, so the receiving, number one, is connected to the abundance. So making it a cycle of energy for yourself, giving and then allowing yourself to receive, like making it truly a beautiful flow results in the abundance internally and how we feel and externally, because we know too how we feel is the magnetic frequency that's going out into the world. And so if we've just given and we're depleted and we continue to give from that depleted energy, well, that's what's being received.
Hmm.
And right, so the flow is blocked, and the flow is so important because money is energy, love is energy, health is energy. And so if there's any blockages in our flow, then that's where the stagnation comes. Maybe the finances, the offer stops selling, maybe the wellness starts to take a downward spiral. And so it's so important to bring awareness to this flow, knowing that this is abundance,
Hmm.
is the circle.
And knowing that offer, the energy, the health you're looking for, the opportunities are actually not going to come from doing. That is the new paradigm. But they're going to come from the frequencies of being, which
Yeah.
are those higher frequencies, like you said, of embodiment, whether it is love, gratitude, inner peace, freedom, sovereignty. Like anytime you tap back into that feeling and you truly, it's not just like in your mind, but it's something that vibrates in your heart, in your body, things start shifting, right?
Yeah, that creating from that space. And let's just bring it back and be really real and honest. That place is really uncomfortable for the
Hmm.
women who have been programmed to do, and to have the success, to have the accolades, to have the results. Now, for us to go back inward, and I'll be honest, this is me speaking from lived experience right now. I turned 40 in June, and it's just been this evaluation of, hey, like, what does the next decade look like? And to be honest, I'm in this space of really discomfort looking at the next decade. Like, I just brought my family to Mexico and we're hanging out here, and living in Mexico is like a year by year thing. We still own a home in Kelowna. Like, there's a lot of transitions, and I don't see them as forever. I see them as in the now. But I feel that's the answer. Like, truly being is being in the present moment. It's not being 5 years from now and creating the grandest vision. It's actually being now and
Hmm.
present and experiencing the abundance of now. And that work for our programming, or speaking for myself, my programming is the most uncomfortable. And yet I know it's where the greatest quote unquote success, if that's what we want to call it, clarity actually will come from. And to tie this into human design, I'm studying human design, and I'm studying myself in looking at really generators. It's really the plateaus, which ties into the being and the being in the present moment. The plateaus is where the magic happens. And so generators, it's always like that. We have the energy to go, go, go. But when we're in a plateau, that spaciousness actually creates the opportunity for the next chapter, for that next
Hmm.
creation. And so being in the plateau, what I'm working through is the discomfort of it, yet knowing that it's so on purpose and it is so necessary and it's exactly where I'm meant to be. And so leaning into that faith and the trust of like, all the magic is happening now, even though I may not yet have the mental answers, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And as a generator, your job is to chase the joy now. That's what's going to bring, because joy is your lifeline. So that's what's going to bring the next thing. And yeah, sitting in the void, that's kind of what I was sharing to my coach. Even when I came back, I said, I feel like I left with a size 8 pair of shoes and I come back and it doesn't fit anymore. And I'm looking for my new shoes. I don't know if they're a size bigger, 2 size bigger. I don't know. I just hope. And someone told me, I just hope they're Dior shoes.
I hope they're beautiful.
I'm like, yes, I'm actually looking for them. And it's actually in this void, this period of transition where it's like, okay, so much has shifted in my identity. So much has shifted in my capacity to receive and give. Like they're like the magnitude of it just like 10x in a week. And it's like, what do I do with that now?
What are you doing with it?
I'm sitting in the void.
Amazing.
I'm sitting with it. I'm allowing it. And this is the thing. Yesterday I had the most, I can't even describe what happened yesterday. As I was sitting in this void with an open heart, that's all I knew is I have an open heart and I'm ready to receive more. I'm ready because I'm in this higher frequency now. So it's like, yes, more, please. I'm in a prime. I'm like, even though it feels like I'm in the void, I'm still in fertile soil.
Yes. And in an elevated frequency that was generated at the retreat that you are still integrating.
So now my job is to trust, have faith in this void, but keep my frequency high. That is my primary focus. And yesterday, I had a call, an email, actually, sorry. Now it's emails. And something that has been on my vision board for 2 years actually happened yesterday. And I was like, what? So this is the power of the void. This is how. So I think you're in a beautiful space, just making sure you take care of your frequency and you share anything from that pure crystalline space.
This is exactly it. And so for anyone who is feeling like in the void, knowing the power and the magic that it holds. And I think also here to note is don't rush it. Like just be in it and in that elevated frequency in it, because anytime we dip, and for me, the not self is frustration. If I were in this void to get frustrated because things aren't moving fast enough, or I don't have clarity, or whatever judgments, fears, doubts come in, then you dip the frequency and you actually lose that magnetism. And so exactly what you're saying is be in it. And that is the magic of being human in this era right now, is actually giving more power to the being and allowing yourself to truly just be in it.
Yeah. Let me introduce you to the club. The club, formerly known as the Soul and Wealth Club, just got a facelift. We got rid of the fuss, kept only the essential, and made that even more powerful. The club is a high-level membership designed to help you save time, energy, and money everywhere I know you want to move the needle. I wonder what could happen if you dropped into a vortex where you get to reconnect with yourself and the magnetic powerhouse that you are. Imagine how your life could be upgraded by calibrating to my energy every month, but not only to mine, but to the energy of this powerful community of like-minded women. Now, this club is designed to amplify your self-leadership and overall life fulfillment by using the precision of biohacking combined with feminine energetics to completely redefine what you thought was the truth about you. It's time to get you back in your power. Now, what's even better, the club is available for $222 a month, and you get to leave whenever you want. You join when you want, you leave when you want. No strings attached. This is the best kind of energy. You come in, you leave whenever you feel complete, or just like most people in there, you stay and you get plugged into the frequency of possibilities. I hope to see you in there. So, how do you raise your frequency?
See, and this is kind of where I feel like a little snot, if I'm gonna be honest, because I'm like, one thing that I'm so good at is curating these environments for myself and my family, right? Like I look back and I know we recorded our episode 1 when I was in Kelowna and we just got our beautiful home and I decorated it the way that I wanted and it was in a beautiful beachfront community that was next door to your beachfront community. And it's like, yeah, there's absolutely nothing to complain about. And it's not to say like this, none of this has ever been gifted to me. It has been this like intentional curation of life by design. But now I'm sitting here and my landscape, like I'm sitting in the beautiful Mayan Riviera in a brand new condo, a stunning Olympic-sized swimming pool. Like it's actually easy for me to raise my frequency.
Yeah.
I just go out in nature. I dip my body in the ocean. Like I have a crystal clear blue ocean, literally 3-minute golf cart ride from my home. Like it is
also just like you get to drive a golf cart. That would be enough to get my frequency to the roof.
It. And so we tend to overcomplicate it. So I want to note here, like it's actually very simple for me. And so it's this reminder again to tap into gratitude. And like, yes, this has been consciously curated and like tuning back into that gratitude moment by moment. Anytime there's a dip, it's like, no, go outside. Like having that ritual of knowing yourself so deeply that you can feel your frequency dipping and then going out, sure, experiencing it. But like I'm in a great moment in life where, knock on wood, like it's the things that actually don't hold much value that may frustrate me. Okay. I don't even, they're ridiculous examples. And so I have the radical responsibility to really stay in a state of gratitude because right now life is fantastic. And so for anyone who may be in a different space, also honoring where you are, because I do truly believe and trust that every situation that comes to us is for us. And so maybe you are having a hard time elevating your frequency because the situation that you're in might be horrible and not bypassing that. So we need to remind ourselves that the human experience is about the feeling and the experience because it is for our soul's evolution. And so whatever you're going through is being in it, experiencing those feelings, those emotions, and then looking at what would it take to get those out of my body. And so that's the first process. And then you can look at layering, like right now, if I get grumpy about how hot it is and how tired I am, okay, well, then I hop on the golf cart and I go outside and I listen to the birds. That's my way of elevating my frequency right now. But really, if you're in a different space, honoring that space because it is for you. And you may not see what's on the other side, but there will be blessings and there will be hindsight 2020. And you have to move through this process in a way because it's for your soul's growth. And then you can layer on the elevated frequency practices. But first, it's honoring where you're at. And yeah, it's powerful work, but this is the work that we've signed up for in this time, in this space. And it's a beautiful, beautiful practice and a beautiful life that we get to experience.
And you mentioned something important that I refer to all the time, and it's radical responsibility. Because someone listening right now might be like WTF, like, is she really, is that really her life? But hey, I've witnessed you go through these hard decisions. I've witnessed you having to pack your life. I've seen how difficult and how you've put yourself in situations that most people would never, ever contemplate. And you and I have become pros of moving now.
Yes.
We've done it over and over again. But it requires responsibility to be like, okay, if I look at my frequency in a day, if I do a frequency audit and I realize that 5% of the time I'm in a good frequency and the rest is just shitty, taking responsibility because nobody's going to come and save you. So what is it that needs to shift? What action do you need to take? What choices do you need to make differently? And that is my masculine energy speaking, but I find that sometimes people really step back into this victim and the thing is, when you are a victim, and I know this very well because I've played it well for years, but when I realize that anytime I'm a victim, I'm giving my power away to the economy, to the market, to my boss, to the upline, to the downline, to like whatever, whoever it is, I am not in my power. So if you're listening right now and you're being a bit triggered by this conversation and the abundance of it, just witness that, sit with it. Don't try to push it away and actually ask yourself, where am I giving my power away? And what choices can I make today to bring myself in better alignment with where I want to go? Because how many of us are living a life that is not at all what we want? I mean, that's not you and I's case, but we work with women every day that are living in a shell of themselves. And there's nothing that, like, that's my why. Like
Yeah, I
I
do, I want to recognize here too, because everything that we have done, it has been intentional and consciously curated. And it's not to say there haven't been highs and lows, and that's you don't get to see the behind the scenes, but every move and every decision you and I have taken, because I've known you for, several years, like they're big, bold decisions that there are several pros and cons in each, and they're not easy. And you and I are not nomads. Like, we have children. And so every decision we take impacts our children. Like, I will say, I mean, because I've, shared the external beauty of what it's at, but like, yeah, transitioning our children all of a sudden to Mexico, to where they don't speak Spanish, to a Waldorf school where they don't know anyone, don't speak the language, new teachers, like last year was hard. But at the same time, I desired this for them, to grow their character, to learn a new language, to be in a completely different country, third world country versus first world country, and to start building their own resilience. Because through my hardship in earlier stages of life, that's where my character was created. And so it takes balls to make these big moves. Yet you get to see the other side. Like, yeah, this year, knock on wood, has been phenomenal. And you're like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. I'm pretty good right now. But that doesn't mean that it's not uncomfortable, because I do have those big, bold dreams and goals of the impact I want to have in the world. But right now I'm chilling in my void by my beautiful ocean and working on
listening to the birds.
Listening to the birds, It's like, I sound like a brat, but this has all been consciously curated. And it's not to say that it has been quote unquote easy.
Oh gosh, it never is. And this is the thing, whether you decide to take the journey of entrepreneurship or whether you just decide to listen to your soul's calling, it's not easy. I always say that alone in itself is the biggest personal development course you will ever take, because it's the one of your life. And yes, it's going to come with some difficult choices, but at the end of the day, if you're chasing the high frequency, if you're every time you're at a crossroad, you ask yourself, what makes me happy right now? What brings me joy? And also reconnected with that inner, child version of you. I just can imagine how happy I would be. My 5-year-old would be so happy to be driving a golf cart to go and get coffee with my friends and go to the beach. Like, are you kidding me? Like, at the resort where we had the retreat, they have bikes, and that's how we kind of move from one place to the next. And the ladies were all laughing at me because any opportunity I had to hop on the bike, I was like, let's go. And it's
you tapping into your childlike spirit. Like, that's your 5-year-old self, like, being so overjoyed. Like, thank you, Vanessa, for bringing this back.
Yes, she's like, I'm still here. Yes, I'm
Yes.
still alive. So anyway, yeah, abundance is an interesting thing, I'm glad we're having this conversation because it is so much more than money. And
Mm,
often, I'll have people say, "Oh, all you care about is the money," and I'm like, "Well, actually, if you really know more about me and if you truly get to be in my world, you'll realize it's never about the money, and it never was." It's about the impact. It's about the joy I'm in when I'm giving in that state, and also the state of receiving. It's just a beautiful loop that keeps on giving, and it's very much like nature.
exactly. And we talked about that at the retreat is abundance coming in the different forms. And so I think one big thing too, as we move into this next year is looking at, the abundance of relationships, the abundance of community, friendships, like really looking and doing an evaluation of your life right now. Like, where is there leaks in the abundance? And relationships is an important place to stay. What about your time? What are you doing with your time when you are disconnecting? Your thoughts, right? The abundance of
Mhm.
thoughts that comes in every single day. And this is one thing too, as moms, the radical responsibility to pay attention to our children. Like right now, they're 6 and 8, and just watching the words that are coming out of their mouth is also a direct relation to the thoughts they're thinking. So I'll oftentimes stop and say, hey, like, what are you thinking right now? And most of the time, it's very present, right? It's like drawing. But there have been comments that my 8-year-old has said that I go deeper and question them, something physical about her body. And then we'll go deeper into those thoughts because I don't want them stuck in their thoughts alone, how most humans are. And we're just recreating and living the story of the thoughts that are happening.
Yeah.
And so that right there is one form of abundance, is really transforming your inner world by becoming more conscious of
Mhm.
what is happening. Like, what are you thinking all day long? Like, what needs an upgrade? And if you can get to a place of neutrality, like neutral thoughts all day long, awesome. And then you get to layer in the next, but do an audit, like you said, of everything, and where there's abundance and where there's lack, and shifting those energies in each area where you can. Like, that's a massive opportunity for all of us, especially as we move into another year soon.
So beautiful. Is there anything you want to add in closing? I feel like this has been
Yes.
very beautiful and abundant.
Yes. I'll give you a little trick that we do riding the golf cart to school each morning is I am so grateful for the abundance of, and I'll say, Sophie, 6-year-old, what are you so grateful for the abundance of right now? And she'll say, I'm so grateful for the abundance of red flowers around us. Maya,
Mm.
what are you so grateful? I am so grateful for the abundance of doggies around us. And the more that we can tap into the abundance that is already around us in the present moment, the more abundance will flow in simply by recognizing what already is. And
Mhm.
so if right now you're like, well, I don't have any abundance in my life. I mean, go outside and sit on the grass that is soon going to turn to snow if you're in Canada. But then you will have an abundance of snow around you and you can bask in the gratitude of that. Like, there's so much abundance around us. And being truly present to it is going to literally shift everything and will bring in the things that you desire that right now you might be pushing away because you're not attuned to what is. Ooh.
There's nothing I can add to this. I wish, this is what I would add to it. I would take your Jaguar thing, your Jaguar instrument, which by the way, I bought. I found it. If you are listening and you're coming to the next fam retreat, you're gonna hear the sound of the Jaguar inspired
Because
by
Anna's coming back.
Oh yes, and now we're gonna have two. Oh my gosh, it's this sound that you did at the end of the Sound Bowl concert was just like it kind of surprised everybody, but me, I was like, what was that sound? I need to be able to replicate it. And now my son and I are really, really loving it. My daughter's kind of freaked out at it, but my son and I were like,
Oh my, you guys, I wish you had it so we could do it right now. It's so good. So we bought it in Mexico City. I'll tell the story. So we were visiting a zoo in Mexico City, and my youngest daughter would not leave without this Jaguar instrument. And so she bought it, and she has such Jaguar energy. Oh, I love it. And she plays it every single day. Okay, so we're gonna take a pause and tune into this energy when you hear it.
I have so much fun doing this. Isn't it wild?
So good. It's
So if
like
you're watching on
stepping-
YouTube, you can see me doing this Jaguar thing. I need to get better at it.
The mic cuts out. I can't really hear you doing it.
No.
I
Okay.
know, it's so good.
Well, you have to come in person to see it and experience it. But
It's like stepping into
amazing.
this powerful, divine feminine energy. Like that's what she represents to me. Oh, thank you for part 2, my love. I feel like in a few years we'll do part 3 as we continue our soul's evolution and this mission.
Yes. And
This
it's not
work
going to
we
be in a
have.
few years. It'll be before that.
Okay, done.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Anna, where can we find you if people are finding you for the first time? And I feel like if they heard you for the first time, we're going to link our first episode so they can have a true understanding of the powerhouse you are, because we kind of skimmed over all of that beautiful story. But you were the creator of Love Powered Co. that you sold same year as me, or 2020?
Ooh, oof, now I don't know. 2021, actually.
2021. Okay. So yeah, we were kind of just both in that process of selling our businesses when we met. But where can people find you now?
Oh, just one sec. I remember dinner at your house in the Okanagan, and I was actually telling you I want to sell. And you were guiding me through the process. Remember? I'm like, we're gearing up to sell. And at that point, it was still an idea. Oh, goosebumps. Yes, we've been through so much together.
And it happened so quickly
happened.
after. Yes.
Yeah, it happened. So thank you for being the support system in that phase of my life too.
Mm.
So Instagram _Anna Lozano, and then my website, annalozano.com. And thank you for part 2, babe.
Awesome. We'll put those in the show notes. Thank you. We will see you in Mexico again very soon. Thank you. Thank you. Bye for now. The information shared on this podcast is for information purposes only and doesn't provide any medical advice. Vanessa Grutman does not cure, diagnose, or treat disease. Please consult your physician before trying any new protocol or product.